Thank you for doing it. I know you reached out to me, but I'm still gonna say thank you because I enjoy the music and it's a natural progression for me. I have this rule for me. I don't like to interview people of music that I don't enjoy because it's gonna shine through. I don't know how to lie. And
Yeah, sure.
and
Yeah.
people will see it and I don't think it becomes genuine. So I like to talk to people that I enjoy their music. I like what they're doing. I like where their head is at. So thank you for doing it, man.
Yeah, well, thanks for for organizing all that stuff. It's actually amazing. It's a great opportunity, to get more exposed, I guess, to wider audience, especially now because we started like quite recently,
Yeah.
and a couple like a week ago, that was like our third gig actually in Australia, which was fun. But we'll have obviously we have lots of experience playing before, so that's why for
Yeah.
us it's not a new thing. Yeah, for all the members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, for those that don't know, I want to kind of give a little bit of a background, right? Besmora is, you guys are hail from Australia. You kind of play your own version of melodic death metal. And it's a country that quite built up a reputation for itself for heavy metal, I would say, in the last 10 to 15 years. It really sprung with Bellacore and Blockrid, so like all these kinds of bands. But for me personally, what I want to know, and for the audience, I think it's interesting to know, is how did you guys, or at least you can speak for yourself, maybe for the band members, how did you guys pick up an instrument? Kind of what was the driving force to pick up an instrument and play heavy metal music?
Well, for me, I think when I was a kid, I saw James Hetfield playing guitar on MTV and was like, wow, that's so good. I want to do the same. Also, I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan of Kiss. I mean, obviously because of the music video and the cover. And yeah, that's one of the those two, I think, bands were like main inspirations when I was growing up, and I picked up the I took like acoustic guitar and started playing, chords, basic stuff, and then developed my skills for the years. And yeah, got my first Les Paul when I was, I think, 14 years old. So Ace Frehley from Kiss. I love the guy,
Of course.
and I got I got Les Paul, and I was so happy about it. And yeah, since then it became my passion and addiction for the last, I would say, 18 years already. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, something like that.
I got a chance to see Ace Frehley in concert one time. Whoa.
Oh, really? Well, so his solo again.
His solo career, yeah. Well, he was really, oh my God, he was good.
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, they're a bit old now and not the same anymore.
Yeah.
And I wish I saw Kiss like when they were like, remember like back in the 70s, they were so good, even late 90s, they were actually quite like they're awesome. They were so tight. Reunion tour when it happened in 1996. Yeah, they were good. And unfortunately, I missed all that, and I only saw them, I think, in Moscow in 2017. Like my first and last time, and they're coming here actually in a few weeks. I think it's like end of April or something.
The last tour they're doing, right?
Yeah, the farewell tour. Yeah, another farewell tour. And and yeah, I'm most likely I will go and see them.
Of course, you gotta check that mark that you saw them again.
Exactly, yeah.
And with I'm gonna ask the specific question, kind of what's the metal mission with Besmora? Because I asked this is at the moment you guys have two songs, one being a cover of Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You, and then your own Disgrace song. So what kind of fans get excited for and expect from the future of Besmora with their music?
Well, we actually almost finished recording like an EP, which is album. I think it's going to be like 6 tracks in there. Plus, we already finished recording the third single, and we have a guest guitarist there, the guy from Psychroptic, Joe Haley. Maybe you know the guy. It's like it's one of like big Australian bands playing like technical death metal, and so we're actually pretty excited. The solo is amazing, and he's like a very professional guy. And yeah, so the sound is so much better. Those 2 singles actually that sound quite good. Production is good. I was very happy, right, about the sound and everything. But the third single is just another level, next level,
Of course.
And yeah, and it's gonna be amazing, and actually amazing sound, amazing song, and also we're going to be planning to shoot a music video. So we're kind of at the early stage of negotiation. We're not talking about that with the director and the producer. Yeah, so it should be fun. So I'm pretty sure Australian fans and not Australians, but like people overseas will love that. Yeah.
Well, I got to check out. You saw me. I got to check out Disgrace, and I was pleasantly surprised right away. I was like, that some great melodic death metal. I instantly enjoyed the song, and actually, I've been re-listening to it a couple times before we even sat down to get myself again in the mood of Besmora. And I like the song, but I have a question about "I Was Made for Loving You." I purposely didn't see it yet because I want to do a reaction to it. I'm a big Kiss fan as well, so me and you we relate. We relate there. I just like the unmasked Kiss more. I know it's a blasphemy to say among a lot of fans, but I enjoy the '80s, Animalize, Crazy Nights. I love that era of Kiss very, very much.
All that stuff. Yeah, it's I love all the eras of Kiss. Actually, I know when I was was listening to them all the time. Like when they were like my band, like I would listen to like literally every day. I have all these eras, right? Like I would love to listen to them like 70s, albums from 70s. Then I would just like I would sick of them, and I would switch to 80s, and then like 90s. Even though they didn't actually make much in 90s, but still they're quite good albums.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what's the question about the cover? Yeah.
About the cover, man. The reason that I want to ask this question is probably the most successful song, right? Song from Kiss, "I Was Made for Loving You," but also the most controversial record from Kiss.
Yeah.
And then you take it, and what I understand is you make this twist, a melodic death metal twist to it. And as a huge Kiss fan, I had to ask you kind of what was the thinking behind picking that particular song to do a cover of?
Because I think no one has done it yet. That's why. And I checked, like actually, well, when I did a bit of research and I was trying to find like all these Kiss covers, like melodic death metal covers, and obviously not Death, for example. They made I think they recorded. I was God of Thunder like ages ago, but no one actually has done "I Was Made for Loving You." And I was like, if you remember, Kiss actually they were moving towards disco sound more, and instead of moving, going back to the to the roots, playing like hard rock, rock and roll music.
Rock and roll,
yeah, exactly. And I was like, I always had it in my mind, like, why did Kiss decide to actually keep moving towards like rock and roll direction, and made that heavy sound on that Dynasty album. And I just that's why, and that's I think the whole idea started. And me and my drummer Daniel, we actually like worked on it a bit, and then I was surprised with the outcome. It's so good. It's like, and like, because the whole idea was like, so basically how the whole idea started from so our drummer, he was studying sound engineering, right? So, and one of his project was to record a song, mix it and master it. And he's like, and he asked me to help him with that because he only had like a few days, I think, to accomplish that. And I was like, all right, that's a great opportunity to record a Kiss cover. And so when we recorded that, he obviously passed his exams, and everyone was happy. And I was thinking, that's actually, it would be such a shame if we wouldn't release that song. Yeah. So, and then we found, director, and who would love to shoot the music video. And how that's whole thing started. And the outcome was amazing. Actually, I loved both music video and song.
It's funny is because when I did the reaction to Disgrace, I have a couple of very loyal followers on the channel that really love watching everything I put out. And as soon as you saw Disgrace, he liked it so much, he just didn't wait and went for the Kiss song and listened to it. And he's coming back to my channel. It's like, dude, you have to come back and check out Kiss. I'm like, I know, I just didn't get a chance to go to it. It's like, it's really fucking good. As a matter of fact, like I messaged them right away and they responded to me and they let me know like they appreciated the support. I was like, oh, that's cool. But I am, as a Kiss fan, I have to get to it. And
trust me, no one told me, like everyone was like surprisingly happy, with the song.
Yeah.
It's if you're Kiss fan and if you're a melodic death metal fan, you're gonna love that.
And you mentioned sound engineering. It gives me a lot of perspective because, like you said, for a band, especially, like usually you'll hear a band release their first album and it sounds okay. Like the music will be great. You'll hear passion behind the music, but it just doesn't have that good sound. You guys from the onset have great sound production, and it looks like obviously you're still independent. So it's great to have really good production from the get-go and get us to enjoy the music that way.
Yeah. Well, look, we're big fans of music, right? And we're perfectionists at the same time. So, and yes, so since our drummer has lots of experience, mixing and mastering music, so yeah, we just, and obviously we have good equipment. We've been investing so much money into gear we buy. And yeah, so because like we're big fans, if you want to deliver a good product, you have to invest so much money.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it wouldn't sound that great. So that's what happens to many bands. They just like they record something like they only have like basic equipment, then obviously it affects the sound so much.
Yeah.
And even the song might be amazing, but if production is horrible, people, you won't be able to deliver your emotions to people. Yeah.
And I think also the generation is a little bit different, where I think old school metalheads, like I'm 34 years old, but I remember growing up, especially we talked about both being from the Soviet Russia, is that idea of we barely got a tape. It could sound like shit. And we just like put our ear close to it. It's like, oh, it's really like you were trying to find the music. People nowadays are not so much into that. They just want a good sounding song and be able to get into it, right?
And the reason why, because there's so much music, now it's like everyone, like ages ago, people, you had to have money to be able to record something. So you have to go to the studio, and someone had to, invest money into music. That's the old school approach. Now it doesn't work that way. So basically you can buy like, audio interface, like a cheap guitar, and, and just record everything yourself. And plus you have VST plugins, cracked software. So you just, it's very easy. And that's why people, because there was so much music, being uploaded, on Spotify and all that stuff, people just like it became so spoiled. They don't want to waste their time listening to some crap, cheap, like poor production music.
Yeah.
And yeah, so unfortunately, that's the reality of 21st century. That's why you have to be good at what you're doing.
I agree. And talking about Disgraced, I don't know if I mentioned it in a reaction, to be honest, but it's something that reminded me of when I was listening to it. It reminds me very much of like 2000s Gothenburg, like death metal sound with like OG In Flames and Soilwork. Am I right in that assumption, or you had something else in mind? You are.
Look, big fans of Swedish melodic death metal, and also have influences. Look, I like melodic death metal, plus I like gothic music, and I like doom metal at the same time. Like all these British bands like Paradise Lost or Anathema or My Dying Bride, like Type of Negative, American band. So, and I like all that stuff, and we just mix it together, all that stuff together, but you're right, we actually get influenced by lots of Swedish metal bands. Like our drummer, he big fan of In Flames. And I love that at the Gates, Dark Tranquility is an amazing band. There's so many of them. Hypocrisy, for example, that's one of the great bands in Sweden. Yeah.
And you know what it is? As I was doing some research, I kept seeing in other interviews you mentioned like, oh, I've played music before. I'm like, what? And I did a little bit of research. I got to check out Double Face when you're back in Kazakhstan. It's actually fucking kick-ass, man. It's really good music. I was trying to find the full album to listen to the whole thing. I was having a little trouble. But the reason I bring up that band, you could tell me like some background about that, but also I'll attach a second part to it is, what kind of lessons have you learned from that band that you're bringing over into BESOMORA?
That's a good question. So lesson to learn, always pay, you always have to invest money into the promotion. Obviously we're young and stupid at the time. We just thought, we're going to release an album and, fame will come to us, and that's a, hard lesson we learn. But actually band was pretty successful at that time, I would say, because we were playing shows for the Creator. We were playing with Cannibal Corpse, Nile. There was I can't remember. There's like a few bands, Gorguts from Canada, and like a few more, the very successful bands. We're good. But the problem was at that time, it's just was so far away from all these countries, and like for living in a third world country, it's a bit hard because money wise it's compared to European countries, it's a bit
Yeah.
different, and to be able to travel overseas was a bit of a challenge. Plus, other guys had their own commitments, like family and stuff, and I had the idea to move to Australia at some point. Just like I had to be focused on that, and I just decided, yeah, it's probably was right time to stop playing, and yeah. But yeah, it was a good time. Actually, we had amazing time. I still get in touch with my mates, and yeah, they stopped playing music, and I'm still stubborn, like still wanna do that. But when I came here, actually, I wasn't playing for a couple of years. I just, I sold all my gear, my guitars, and I only brought one Jackson, the one you saw on the video.
Yeah.
And I know just I was in the cupboard for a couple of years, and then when lockdown happened, when I was like, all right, maybe since I have so much time now, I could, start practicing again. And yeah, so kind of I loved it, fell in love again, second time. And yeah, since then I've been playing. Same situation I think happened to our drummer, because like he had no motivation to play for a couple of years, and then and it took us a while actually to bring all the skill back. Practice a lot, and yeah, it was, you should have heard us first time playing. Oh my god, that was like, I was first, what I was thinking of, like, God, maybe it's best not to play anymore. It's just like, it was horrible. Yeah.
But you know what it is? What I like to hear in your attitude and voice is something that I don't hear with a lot of, like, I've got to interview some really known bands and some bands that just starting and kind of getting their footing. And the ones that are getting their footing, there's this common message for me personally I hear is, well, like we love to do this. And I feel like everybody, you wouldn't play music if you didn't love it. But it's like,
Yeah.
we'd love to do this, but we're not going to look for any kind of success. If it happens, it happens. And I like to hear in your voice that there's a mission. There's like, no, we want to produce good music, but we also want success. And I think that's very important to the growth of the band.
Yeah, well, because it's important to have a purpose, to have a goal when you play in the band. Otherwise, what's the point of playing? I just don't get it, right?
Yeah.
So you just want to be successful. You want to deliver your music to more wider audience, not only like, for playing in front of like 10, 20 people, but also you want to show your music more people and feel the appreciation. It's like, it's an amazing feeling, when you can do that, that's the goal.
It's important to be a dreamer.
Exactly, yeah. Well, look, as long as you have goals, I mean, as long as you know which direction you're moving,
Yeah.
Music, not only music, with everything in your life, it's easy, I think. I mean, obviously, you meet lots of challenges on the way, and that happened to us a lot. And just like, sometimes I had to take a break for a couple weeks, and start playing again. Especially in the beginning, when you start playing music in the country that you were, you just moved in, it's a bit of a challenge, because you don't know the people, you have to like, you don't know any musicians, you just have to start from scratch, basically. Yeah, it was hard. Now it's easier, obviously, more people, and yeah, people know us. Yeah, but in the beginning it was a bit hard.
And then Besmora itself, the name, it derives from Slavic mythology, with you being from Kazakhstan, Daniel being from Croatia. I kind of saw that Zeus, your bass player, right?
Yeah.
He's also Australian. But to me, as a person who was born in Russia, what I want to ask you is, would you ever incorporate elements of traditional folk metal of Slavic mythology in lyrics and into music? Because I think it'd be a pretty cool mix to put those things, because I don't think anybody has really done it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, maybe. It's a good idea. I've been thinking of that too. And well, look, we need to finish our album first. And then the lyrics is a bit different. Obviously, as the Disgrace, for example, there's lots of stuff about like demons in there. If it's possession, all that stuff. And yeah, look, mythology, Islamic mythology is a pretty cool thing. If you read about it, it's just insane how many all these creatures and demons and all that stuff in there. When I'm thinking of the name for a band, and I just like, wow, maybe it's a good idea, because since Daniel, drummer, he's from Slavic country as well, right? Like in similar culture, I mean, same culture, and and that's why the idea to uh, name a band like based on the Slavic mythology, that would make sense. And plus, the name is so unique. You know, try to find any other bands with the same name. No way.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Sometimes I'll ask bands how you come up with their name, and they'll have kind of your thinking behind. It's like we want something cool, a different name. Like there's a lot of thought. And sometimes like Be'lakor, also from Australia, which is a reference to like Warhammer and all these kinds of fantasy. It's like, oh, we just thought it sounded cool. And it's so funny. He goes like, it's like it caught on because the name kind of was descriptive of the band. But it's funny how every person, every band, every musician finds their objective and finds their point very differently. And it all in the end for each of them makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, look, well, also the name, it's like it's basically it's like a bes and then more. There's like two different demons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and the female and male demon. So that's what makes sense, like and we just wanted to mix those two demons together, and yeah, I love it. I'm very happy that we come up with such a name.
I'm with your thinking 100%. I kind of think I'm starting to notice we think in a similar manner. I would be the same way. Like it has to have meaning, it has to make sense. You have to pull it from something that's interesting. This question you kind of answered already. It's about that you guys are developing an EP, but also with kind of the digital world that's happening, right? Where people consume albums, consume music very differently. Where it'd be before traditionally you would want an EP, you won't want a full album. Do you plan to go along that route as well, or a more breaking the mold kind of breaking the tradition where you're going to go more by singles and until you have enough to assemble an EP?
Oh, that's why we've been recording singles. We've been releasing singles. So the plan is to release like 3 singles, and then and then we this craze, like when we release a single, we just wanted to test and see what reaction would be from people. Like what people would say. Maybe it's like that music would never be successful here, and people would start saying that's horrible. Don't play that anymore, and that's why we wanted to test and see what reaction would be, and we got a very good feedback. And I believe that in today's world, it's releasing singles is much better, and you can promote them. I mean, obviously, recording an album is important too, but I think you should start. If you're a young band, you should start with singles first. It's because it's not as expensive as recording an album. And promotion, I think, yeah, it's just a bit cheaper.
Got it.
Like I said, plus you can actually you can see the reaction from people, what they would say. Imagine you spent like months and months working on an album, and people would just start criticizing your work, and it will affect you so much.
Yeah.
If you release a single and you see that people don't like it, then you can actually get a feedback and understand what was wrong and what they didn't like that music. Maybe you need to change something, and it's easy to do that when you just release a one single rather than the whole album. But yeah, look, that's the goal. So we're gonna release 3 singles, and then there'll be an album, and obviously we're gonna be supporting this album for like the next few months after that. Plus the plan is to release a couple more music videos, and there's collaboration with other musicians as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty exciting times.
Well, I'm excited already for it because, like I said, I really enjoyed Disgrace. I enjoy that style of melodic death metal. It also reminded me of bands I enjoy, like Spartan, which I just like that particular sound. And melodic death metal in general just exploded because it's become the area for experimentation, the area for innovation. Where it's like I grew up with thrash metal, and thrash metal is kind of it's a dying genre. And it's like not a lot of people are doing that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I love Slayer. I love all these bands. Exodus and all that. They're amazing. But the reality is that thrash metal is dying. It's not as popular as before. But surprisingly, lots of thrash metal bands play in Australia. So people love thrash metal here.
Of course.
Yeah. and melodic metal, I think. I wouldn't say that it's big here. There's good bands playing melodic metal. Plus, yeah, you're right. Actually, what I really like about that genre, because it's like not too technical, not too sophisticated. The riffs are very catchy. There's melody in the songs, and yeah, it's just I think you have more chances to get people like your music. It's just yeah, it's amazing genre. I mean, before I used to play, I was more technical. When you're younger, you always want to prove that you're capable of playing like a just so like it's professional. You can like it's like you have your ego, right, when you were like in your early
Of
20s,
course.
and that's the music I used to play before. And then I grew up thinking, like, to be honest, like it just
Yeah.
why would they even bother, like play what you like, not don't try. Life is simple, don't try to make it complicated. And
It's-
people in fact like simple stuff, they like example Nirvana, just like three chords, people love that. And yeah, if you make music super complicated, I think you won't be able to deliver to many people. There'll be like very few people who understand that.
And that reminds me of oh my God, I was gonna name a particular band that did that as well. I'll come back to it if I remember it. In terms of songwriting, do you guys collaboratively come together as a unit? Do you write most of the music? How does the songwriting process happen for you guys?
Well, what we do with me and the drummer, yeah, because we started the band, and we still keep working that way. So basically, I like write some riff and I send it to him, and maybe I write like a couple of riffs, like a few of them,
Hmm.
send to him, and then he records drums, and that's like a starting point. And then when we rehearse together, we trying to develop the idea more.
Yeah.
Plus, two other guys, yeah, they help us as well. So because our guitars joined us when actually we recorded all the guitar parts for our songs. So but bass, yeah, for bass lines, yeah, we had to come up with lots of ideas. And yeah, Zeus, our bass player, he's actually pretty good and a talented guy, and he's taking lessons from the guy from Archfire, the band from Canada, like technical melody, that technical metal.
No,
That
never
yeah,
heard of them.
yeah, Archfire. Yeah, check them out. It's so, and that's why it affects his skills so much. And he's into like very sophisticated bass parts. And yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I love it.
And it now reminds me what I was going to ask you too. Is I got a chance to interview Tomas from Wolfheart and Dawn of Solace. And I was very surprised when I asked him, like, oh, how you write music? He goes like, oh, I'm not a very good guitarist, drummer. Like, he plays all the instruments, but I'm not very good at them. I'm like, what? It's like, no, I don't think I'm very good. It's like, it's just for me, it's the songwriting. And it goes back to what you're saying. It's not complexity that makes good music. You can be complex and create good music, but it's not the complexity that makes it. You look at AC/DC, you look at all these bands. It's how you put all the elements together and how the music sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like about how much emotions you put, because people feel that, through the music.
Yes.
If you just trying to like play like your robot, just you're recording all these massive amounts of riffs, like and if there's no passion, there's no soul in those riffs and those lyrics, people, you won't be able to create anything like unique and special, and yeah, people won't like it much. Yeah, that's because music is emotions, right? So it's all about that.
I agree with you. If you see three of my videos, you'll realize I say that all the time. I'm always like, I pick emotion over technicality in either. One of my favorite death metal bands, Bolt Thrower. Very
Mhm.
simple music, but it's charged. It's very, very charged. It's very emotional. And I happen to agree with you a lot. Look at again, AC/DC.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, that's true. AC/DC is just, yeah, one of the examples, or Nirvana, like
You
just the
wanna-
basic.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I've mentioned them twice already. But yeah. Maybe what about Amon Amarth? That's a band actually. They play straightforward Viking melodic death metal, and they sound awesome. Like, and you feel the power. Through the lyrics, you just like feel like you're Viking. Like it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah, yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's such a, especially when you work out, that's the best music.
I agree. Or when you're moshing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And also talking to I got a chance to talk to a couple Aussie bands on this channel, and they've expressed this sentiment that in Australia, it's a little bit difficult when it comes in terms of venues and just to play metal in general. Not to mention, like traveling outside of the country could be very difficult as well. I don't know. I know you guys, you said you only played a couple of shows, but perhaps your experience through going to shows, your experience of playing shows, do you find it to be true as well that there's a certain difficulty? There's only a couple of clubs to go to.
It depends where you live, to be honest. If you're based in Sydney, there's lots of venues. I was surprised actually. So yeah, there's like obviously big venues, a small one. There's like little pubs you can play metal. And yeah, look, there's lots of. I was surprised actually how many venues they have for like hard like metal music. So yeah, it depends where you live. If you live, I don't know, maybe somewhere in Brisbane, in Queensland, probably there's less opportunities for metal musicians.
Mm-hmm.
But in New South Wales, I think I believe it's all right. And also, it's just because people have been living in lockdown for the last 2 years, and they're so hungry. They want to listen to music, and the promoters just like they've been organizing gigs literally like a few times a week. There's so much going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And plus, there's not so many band from overseas coming to Australia yet. Only big ones, obviously, like someone like Guns N' Roses or Kiss, but the underground bands, I think they won't be coming here till next year, I think. So that's why it's a good opportunity for local bands, to establish good reputation. And I think we've been doing like we actually started playing at the right time. And gigging, so we have, I think, 5 or 6 shows, I think, lined up. So yeah, we're going to Canberra in a couple of weeks. Yeah, pretty excited about that. Never
Nice.
played it yet. So yeah, yeah, it's gonna be an awesome experience.
And now I'm going to ask you for your personal taste, not necessarily. Well, I'll say metal music related. Your top 5 bands on the top of your head that inspired you, not necessarily inspired you in music, but really got you into the genre of heavy metal. I think you mentioned Metallica.
Yeah, Metallica was. You're talking about like in Metallica, I would say Kiss. I would say Kiss more. I think. Who else? Like Paradise Lost. They were still my favorite. One of my favorite bands. At the Gates. It's hard. It's hard actually. At the Gates. Yeah, Slayer. Creator. Yeah.
I love Creator.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Creator. I love them. They've started playing melodic death metal more than thrash. It's like not thrash anymore. It's more
after Endorama and Outcast. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. I know it's funny that in Australia they're not very popular.
Oh my god!
Surprisingly, yeah. You've been to you went to the Creator concerts, right?
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen how many people actually come and see them, right? So just a lots of people. Here, I was surprised. Like there was just like I don't know, maybe 1,000, maybe like less than 2,000 people actually came to see them. It's like wow, that's insane. Like because like in Europe, they're massive there. Like if you go to see the show, there will be lots of people there. Here, it's I would say, it was very. People don't listen to them much. They know the name, but yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why people love Slayer and American thrash metal bands more than European.
The problem with New York, though, is we don't have venues for festivals. It's only small venues. And something like Madison Square Garden can only be sold out by Slayer or Megadeth, because otherwise it's a pop band that's going to be in there. And so most of the time, if you're seeing somebody like Creator, it's actually no more than 250 people. It'll be in New York.
Wow.
Like Creator, they will never get more than that in New York. So it's always an intimate show. I got to see Overkill and Creator in concert. It was like 250 people.
Wow, it's even worse in America.
Well, it's more New York. You go to California, you go to other states where they have festivals and big arenas. Yeah, they'll fill it out for sure.
Oh yeah.
Wow. But in New York, it's such a high level of competition. Death metal, thrash metal, anything heavy, really heavy, is really not going to make it on a major platform because it'll be taken by a rap artist or a pop artist.
It depends where in the state you live, right? Like somewhere in California, obviously, and it's just Florida. Apparently, there's a big metal scene over there. Yeah, but not in New York. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, you know about it.
And you know what, Vlad? I want to leave the last word to you because I've interrogated you here the whole time with the interview, but I want to give a word to you perhaps to fans or even new people that have never heard of you, to check out what they should be looking forward to BESOMORA, kind of your wishes, your thoughts. I want to leave the last word to you, man.
Okay, that's a tough one.
Put pressure on you a little bit.
Yeah, well, look, we've been working so hard actually for the last few months, and to deliver good music with high quality stuff. And we're like very ambitious, we actually believe in what we've been doing, and I believe our music deserves a lot attention, lots of attention, and not only in Australia but actually overseas. So our plan for the next few months is just to promote ourselves in Australia. And after that, the plan is actually find promoters somewhere overseas and travel there. Probably Asian countries would be awesome to visit, or also been thinking about South America. They have mad fans over there.
Of course.
Yeah, it'll be great to go there. So plus, yeah, it's like we only have thoughts about that at the moment. So like I said, I think it will be, I guess, become more realistic once we release the third single. Yeah, so the promotion is important. Plus we have guitarists from a big band from Australia, so that's why it's going to help us to boost our presence, and yeah. So, but look, I mean, for the next few months are going to be very exciting. So we have lots of ideas for the music videos we're going to shoot soon. Yeah, I think fans will be very happy.
When you mentioned South America, my wife is from Colombia.
Oh yeah, okay.
She was telling me she doesn't listen to metal music at all. She was telling me how big of an event it was when Iron Maiden came there. It's like, you don't understand. It's like people from Venezuela, Brazil, all over South America were lined up for the show. They were sleeping outside on highways in tents because they bought tickets, waiting to get into the concert.
Do you remember the example Kiss concert in Brazil back in 1983? That was like 120,000, how many people were there? The show I'm talking about.
I've never heard. No.
There was an album, Creatures of the Night album, and then they went to, obviously they lost the popularity, in Europe and in America, but still like so many mad fans in South America. So they went to Brazil and they played like in front of I think it was 120,000 people or maybe 200,000 people, and yeah, that's and that explains a lot. I mean, the people living in South America, they're crazy metal fans.
Yes,
they love that, and you can tell. If you watch videos on YouTube, the way they going crazy there, it's awesome. That's why I want to go there one day. Yeah, but like I said, it's if you believe in your music, if you know that you can. It's all about believing in your music. Obviously, it's all about not only believe, but also you have to create good music and you have to record good quality music. So it's like if you garage band trying to go to South America to play gigs, and I mean no, you won't be able to achieve that. But if you put so much effort and record good quality product, I believe it's possible.
I really like your attitude. I'll be honest with you. Not even as a metal guy, just on a human level. I like your attitude because it's so much so, I believe so. If you set yourself up for this idea of, well, if we maybe, that's what's going to happen. You set yourself up for what's going to happen. And if you have this belief like, no, I think this is great. I think this is worthy. I'm going to create the best thing that I can create. People are going to see that passion and that fire within the person. And that alone can get a person into a band. And then when they hear the music and they realize, oh shit, and the music is great too, it just adds an overall. I think it's so important to have fire within you. And sometimes I even hear it from bands that have been in the game for 30 years. And I'll talk to some guy, like I talked to Phil Demo from Violence yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I hear him talk and I just hear fire within his voice. I'm like, fuck, man, he's like in his 50s and he still wants to do thrash metal.
That's very awesome. Yeah, look, that's all about that. It's like not only about music, it's like everything you do in your life. As long as you have this passion, believe in what you've been doing, you can achieve everything. That's a fact.
And you know what I'm always proud of, I always mention to people is we talk about a big turnout for a concert. My brother being older than me, he's 6 years older than me, he remembers 1991 Monsters of Rock in Moscow. And
did you go there?
He didn't. Oh, he wanted to go. Our mother would not let him go. As for like a 14-year-old kid, that was not happening.
Ah, yeah.
But it's like one point, like estimated 1.7 million people from all, because people don't understand how much of fans we are of heavy metal. And obviously, of all the political unrest and everything that's happened in Russia, it makes sense why we're such big fans and how big of an event it was. So when we came to this country, the United States, and had the opportunity to see all our heroes, it was just such a big, special moment.
Oh man, yeah. Well, like same for me when I used to go to the gigs here, and when the first few months I came to Australia, I was insane. At some point, I just like couldn't go. Like, oh, yeah, yeah. So because like when you live over there, in like in Kazakhstan or Russia, because I lived in both countries, and it's like it's like I said, there's not so many. At some point, I think so many bands stopped coming there. And plus it was a bit expensive, to go all the gigs,
Yeah.
the financial situation, or like economics not great in those countries. So it's it's a bit expensive for metal fans to go every gigs. But when you live in countries like Australia or America or Canada, you basically you can afford all that,
Yeah. And I want to do one more thing, because again, we're from that part of the world. Me having also like a Middle Eastern, I have to give you a toast, man. And
Toast.
a toast, man. I want to toast the idea of, I want to be there for side by side with a band, see you guys grow and evolve and become these powerhouses. And want to see you in New York, in South America, and on Vakin. I wish for all those big events for you guys to happen, because just from what I've heard, one song, just speaking to you on a personal level, and seeing the person behind, like, one of the persons behind the band, I wish you guys just absolute luck and success for the band, because it'll be just heartwarming to see it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that so much.
And thank you for doing the
Yeah.
interview, man.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I love it. That was a great chat.
You have a good one, all right?